Okay, yes, in this video, I'm going to explain you which kind of skills do you should learn in this new era when the AI can write plenty of code and is creating new kind of job and skills. Okay, let's start. If you are new here, I'm Kevin Mora. I'm from Ecuador. I have 4 years of experience working as a software developer. For that reason, I create this video to help you and to help me to understand which kind of skills I should learn to stay relevant. Okay, let's start. Okay, as you know, the world of the software development is changing. AI is here and it's creating two very different paths for developers. On one path, we have vibe coding. Vibe coding means is where people use AI to create apps just by writing natural language. Most of the time, prompts. But the most common reason that the people use by coding is they don't need to understand the code, and it's great for making quick prototypes or make app from scratch to an MVP. But it creates a lot of problems for serious professional application. Okay, on the other path, we have Spec-Driven development. This is a professional standard for 2026. In this world, the development acts as an architect. You write the detailed logic plans and the AI acts as a super fast compiler to turn your plan into code. For that reason, if you want to have a valuable long career, you must be on the second path. Today, I'm going to share the core technology stack you need to learn to become that architect and stay relevant for the years to come. Okay, let's start with the first one. Okay, cloud computing and infrastructure as a code. As you know, nowadays in the market you can find plenty of new tools, web applications, because actually anyone can build an app. And there are plenty of enthusiasts try to building apps, but they have a problem that they can't grow that infrastructure. For that reason, I think actually it's very important to learn and understand cloud computing, especially how to handle infrastructure as a code inside a project. For that reason, the first and most important area in this year is cloud computing. Application no longer live on our laptops, they are distributed all over the world. For that reason, you must understand how to deploy applications, how to manage networks and security, and most importantly, access the different kind of access on platforms like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. Beyond the platform, you need to learn infrastructure as a code, and in this section, you must learn about Docker for deploy your apps, and of course, Terraform to allow your build and manage huge server using simple infrastructure code instead of clicking through the web apps, UX, UI like Amazon Web Service or other service. This is very important because in this area, especially in this moment, as you know, the new research or the new cutting edge tools are agents. And I know in the job market, plenty of professionals need an engineer that can help them to deploy an agent, especially using the cloud. I think this is a huge opportunity for a professional who has this kind of skills. It's very useful because it's a person used for instance open cloud or some other agents. Probably they need to deploy their agents outside of their machines. For that reason, I think it's very important to understand the cloud computing, especially if you create a piece of code like using infrastructure as a code. It's very useful because you can only write the commands in a simple test and you can execute like following a flow. For that reason, I think it's very important to understand this kind of technology. And of course, if you combine Docker with Kubernetes technology and of course Terraform, you will become very valuable professional in this year. Okay, moving to the second one is skill. Remember this, Python and Agentic AI integration. As you know, the second area is Python and the Agentic AI. Python is in every kind of AI application because Python is still the king of the programming language for AI and data science. But the real reason you need Python in 2026 is to work with Agentic AI. This is the new world where we can build an agent, and this agent can make complex tasks, they can follow multi-step tasks, and they can make their own decisions. For that reason, to build this kind of agents, the industry is using a new standard called Model Context Protocol, or MCP. MCP is like an universal adapter that allows AI to connect following these structured rules and security contracts. AI can connect with company databases, files, and other tools like Google Drive or Google Sheets. This is very useful because instead of writing thousands of lines of code, a developer can use an FCP server and allows the AI to work with this system using natural language or different kind of prompts. And yes, understanding MCP, especially how to build an MCP server, is one of the most valuable skills that you can learn. Okay, in my experience, I think yes, Python is very useful, but sometimes you can search some very cutting edge frameworks if you work with TypeScript. And I think these kind of frameworks are very useful if you want to build an agent using JavaScript ecosystem. In the last point, I will talk about a little that kind of technology. Okay, moving to the next skill, data architecture, SQL, and vector search. I think data is the fuel for modern applications. Yes, I believe SQL is more important than ever before because you must be an expert in writing complex queries, but before to achieve that level, it's important to understand the fundamentals because most of the time, if you build a software project, you need to save very important information and you need to make a relationship between this information. For that reason, you need to understand fundamentals like how to structure my database, how to build a good relationship between my tables, how to handle the connection between my foreign keys and my primary keys. And of course, after that is very useful because you can make very advanced queries using joins, using some features like SQL joins. And of course, after you get these skills, you can add vector search. Vector search is very useful because you can use inside of some SQL tables but using the same syntax because SQL is very useful for both sides. For instance, if a user saves the title for each document and after some years or some months they want to search this title, probably they'll need to write the perfect title because if they lost some words or some characters, probably the query will return a bad result. In that case is when vector search appears to help us to save information based on the meaning. And this is very useful because modern AI search are very useful because you can make or you can use other kind of technology like RAG, retrieval argument generation, and you can make your apps very smart and very useful because the AI is very powerful, taking a simple app and becoming more smart. Okay, moving to the next one skill, it's about cybersecurity. The fourth area is cybersecurity. This is one of the most in-demand skills in 2026 because, as you know, actually the AI is generating so much code so quickly, and there is a huge risk of new bugs or security vulnerabilities because I think when the AI generate plenty of code instantly, it's very difficult to verify the code or verify if the AI is calling a variable that don't exist in your code. For that reason, the modern developer must act as the human in the loop. This concept makes, for instance, if you're using a tool to write code like Cloud Code or GitHub Copilot, most of the time, if you don't review that code, if you accept the new branch without reviewing the comments or the quality of the code, it's very insecure that way because the AI can inject some prompt injection or SQL injection. And for that reason, you need to have the fundamentals and knowledge to review the AI generated code and check it for security problems that I mentioned it, like SQL injection or some others vulnerabilities. I think actually is very important because the world doesn't need more bad code because it's more important to have a code with more security ways and some validations. And for that reason, I think the cybersecurity field is very useful in this new era when the AI can write plenty of code instantly. Okay, let's continue. Modern web developer. Remember, last but not least, I think modern web developer is very useful right now because if you want to build a web application or if you want to build app application in a to use in a cell phone or more devices, it's very useful to know how to build that kind of app, especially when you are building a software project. It's most important to know the data flow, how you will connect the front end with the database, because it's very important. Try to build a professional front end and connect to robust backend. It's very useful because building that kind of application, you understand how the data flows follow, how the front end sends the JSON structured data to the backend, and how the backend saves this information into relational database or NoSQL database and other important concepts. I think most of the time the most famous programming languages are JavaScript with some front ends like React, Nest, and other. Some of these frameworks use TypeScript. On the other hand, on the backend side, I think the most common technologies are Node.js, using some frameworks like Nest, Express, and other frameworks. And of course, Python nowadays is very useful because you can build a completely app using frameworks to build agents like LangChain and other frameworks I don't remember right now. But yes, Python and Node.js is very important because if you understand all of software development cycle, you can master as a full stack developer. And I think it's very important to understand the modern web developer. Okay, and remember, these were the all skills and technology that you must learn if you want to pass from coder into an software architecture. Remember learning about cloud computing and infrastructure as a code. Then you can learn about Python and Agentic AI. And of course, I think it's important to learn about data structure like SQL or NoSQL. And of course, learn about cybersecurity to prevent some risks or vulnerability in your apps. I think the full stack the software development is important because you need to build a front end and connect with robust APIs. And of course, remember, if you domain these technologies is so essential because after you learn the fundamentals, you can become a true valuable software architecture in this new era when the AI can write plenty of code. And remember, please keep in mind this aspire to be the system architecture, not just a prompt typist. keep in mind that. And okay, finally, I want to hear from you. Which of these areas are you focusing on learning right now? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you want to know which technology actually I'm learning right now, you can check this video when I explain why I choose that kind of program language. And thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful and honest, please give it a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one.